Most Star Trek fans know what was happening on board the USS Enterprise. We saw her journey every week. But I would like to consider what was going on down below them, on Earth, specifically in school classrooms. I talk about this at length in Chapter 2 of my book, Make It So, First Footsteps Toward the Future Federation. When we watch any Star Trek iteration, we quickly recognize that every crew member is confident, competent, and capable. If we want to realize a future like that, we must consider what we are doing in classrooms today and what kinds of changes we can make to create those kinds of citizens for the future. But first, a little history. Education in America has actually not changed much for 2 centuries. New buildings, new books, and new furniture, but early 19th century classrooms were organized pretty much the same as they are today. A teacher at the front of the class and students sitting at their desks listening. Same for the early 20th century. Same for the mid-20th century. And same for the early 21st century classrooms. Although as we did get into the 21st century, we do have the addition of computers. Even in the Star Trek world, we see a teacher standing at the front and students sitting at their desks. The technology is advanced, but it would appear the methodology is fairly similar. The teacher drives the curriculum in the class. Students of about the same age are passive learners. Students of the same age sitting in the same classrooms suggest the same approach in terms of school structure, that is to say, grade levels, content areas, and classrooms. Teachers deliver instruction and students are passive learners. Although it is an assumption in the case of Star Trek, as there is not a lot of evidence, we know that is the model we have used through 2 centuries. We are using the same model we used 2 centuries ago. This is despite the fact that our knowledge of child development, cognition, as well as learning styles has increased greatly, and research suggests there are better ways. To be sure, there are artist renditions of what future classrooms would look like. Indeed, there are schools around the country that are experimenting. Unfortunately, they are few and far between. Perhaps one of the most extensive efforts is taking place in Europe. The European SchoolNet network is an effort to rethink education. Based in Brussels, it supports efforts throughout Europe to step away from traditional classrooms in an effort to address students' learning needs and styles. The Future Classroom Lab, or FCL, is a new kind of classroom designed to better meet the needs of what we know about students, pedagogy, and learning styles. Here is one plan. As you can see, the classroom is divided into several sections that are designed to assist students as they move through the learning steps to complete a project. Let's take a closer look. Direct instruction takes place in the exchange area. This area would look most similar to traditional classrooms we see in schools. However, it would be a collaborative effort so as to address the different learning styles children have. Teachers and students working together to better understand new concepts. Investigate area. This area would provide students a place to begin discovering more about any new topic or area. By applying project-based learning techniques, students could take advantage of their individual strengths in creating their projects. The interact area. This area would provide students a chance to interact with new technologies to further their understanding of a particular topic or area as they work on their project. The develop area. This area is where students could work to develop new ideas at their own pace, possibly even work on unrelated topics that hold a special interest for students. The create area. This area is where students could create any video or slide presentation for their project. This area provides an outlet for student creativity. The present area. This is where students would make presentations of the work they completed on the new topics or ideas created. As you can see, this classroom offers a new perspective on the different strategies and creative approaches to learning new concepts. Students could easily move back and forth between the different areas, allowing more freedom. However, it is still seemingly tied to some traditions that have long survived any education reform of the past, namely class groups and grade levels. Although I could not find specific information on their website, it appears this classroom is designed for a class. That is to say, a set group of students that would be together for the day or at least a period. They might be working on different projects, but still the same classroom. This further suggests that there would be grade levels and students would move much like they do in traditional American schools. There is a big difference in how the classroom looks and even how instruction is delivered, but it is still a classroom. As I mentioned in my book, the entire education system is in need of change. Imagine the classroom we just saw being expanded to an entire campus or district. There would be several series of investigative classrooms or development classrooms on campus. Direct instruction would be available for students when and if they needed it. Technology could be accessed from anywhere on campus. Presentations would be made in lecture hall kind of rooms for other students to listen, question, and challenge presentations, while those making presentations would defend their work. Teachers would not be assigned to classrooms or students, but projects. There would be many more teachers on any campus, and they would act more as facilitators. Moreover, students wouldn't be assigned to grade levels, but rather ability levels. These groups of students would be very dynamic. As each student achieved their required level of proficiency, they could move into a new level. Students would be tied to projects, not classrooms or teachers, or even grade levels. Schools would no longer be designed to have a teacher telling students what to think. Our current approach to education is focused on how or what we teach, not how students learn. The system is designed to walk students through 12 years of indoctrination. Not so much the curriculum, although that is very debatable, but more the behaviors. While it can be argued that not all students learn any particular subject in the same way or even to the same level, what cannot be argued is that all students learn obedience. When to sit, when to stand, when to arrive, when to depart, even how to ask a question. Throughout the day, they sit and are told what to do and what not to do. They learn to succumb to the group, to follow others. After being processed like this for 12 years, they have been trained by the system to become worker bees. Those that move on to university have mastered being worker bees and are looking to join the supervisory role of the system, to watch over other worker bees. In either case, they will join the system and live out their lives within that system. That is not what our future holds for us. There is no system, at least not like we would think of one. Each individual reaches their potential. Self-actualization is the purpose of schools in the future. When each individual of a society is self-actualized, they no longer need a system. They become the system, and the system is as dynamic and fluid as the citizenry. Our future counterparts have learned how to learn at a very early age, and they spend the rest of their school days discovering who they are and exploring their possibilities. When they leave schools and universities, they're not necessarily looking for a good job. They are exploring their potential. Each day is spent boldly going where they have never been before. I talk in much greater detail in my book on what an education system may look like. And I must say that in my book I also connect it to other significant changes in our society before that kind of an education system would work. But that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to provoke thought. I hope to begin a discussion or a dialogue about what we can do in our education system today that will help students of the future reach their full potential.